Hey everybody, welcome to the Fantasy Endgame. We're here to help you win all season long, and that starts in week one, which is finally here. So do our start sits. We've already talked about running back, wide receiver, quarterback, tight end. Check out all those videos on this channel. Now it's time for defenses. That's right. Most of you play in a league that has team defense or special teams. So we're going to give you our favorite streamers and start sits right now. If you have a question about a team that we don't answer, well, just leave a comment right here on this channel and we'll get to it, guaranteed. And on our live show every Sunday morning, that's right, 2 hours before the kickoff of the first game on Sunday mornings, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, we will talk about everything that you have to ask us. We'll try to answer all your questions live on this channel. All right, so let's go to the defenses. So Chris, week one, which matchup has you thinking this is the defense I definitely want to start?
It's the Denver Broncos against the New York Giants. And I know the Broncos defense at least are starting to get more talk and more buzz, but they're still not being drafted as one of the top defenses off the board. So, and they might even be on the waiver wire on some leagues. And this is just a great spot for the Denver Broncos, right? Von Miller should be healthy. Bradley Chubb should be healthy. They're going to get tons of pressure on Daniel Jones, who is a turnover and sack machine. And that's really what you're looking for your fantasy defense, right? You get points for sacks and turnovers. I know most people try to find a defense that's not going to allow a lot of points, but that really isn't what does it. And also in the secondary, they already had a pretty good secondary, but now they added Kyle Fuller to bolster that secondary. And then when you look at the Giants, you got Kenny Golladay, who's barely been able to practice. Evan Ingram probably going to be out. We don't know what kind of role Saquon Barkley is going to have yet. I mean, this should be a field day for the Broncos defense. It wouldn't be surprising to me at all if they are this week's number one defense.
I'm with you there. Denver definitely being undervalued in fantasy. Daniel Jones, one of those quarterbacks that you love to stream against because, like you said, turnovers, it's not even just interceptions, but fumbles and sacks. So, yeah, I definitely take Denver week one. Now, we don't really know what to get with Mac Jones because he's going to be starting his first NFL game, but he's a rookie starting his first NFL game. That sounds like potential, at least, for a good defensive performance by the Dolphins. Don't forget last year, the Dolphins allowed the sixth fewest points in the league. And this is a team that has a solid core, not a lot of turnover. They still managed to keep Xavier Howard there at cornerback. So I feel like this is a definitely high floor defense. If you're in a league that rewards points allowed more heavily on the defensive side, definitely a strong start. Not necessarily the best in terms of turnovers. Again, we don't know what we're going to get with Mac Jones, but not the most mobile guy either. Not a Cam Newton who's going to make plays with his feet. So a good chance for some sacks too. So the Dolphins are definitely a unit that I'm going to watch in week one. All right, one more defense that you feel is a must start.
Well, if you watched our start sit QB tight end video, I had Joe Burrow as a sit this week, because I got the Minnesota defense as a start this week against Cincinnati. Again, talked about that offensive line. That Cincinnati offensive line is just as bad, maybe even worse than it was last year. Joe Burrow coming off that injury. There should be ample opportunities for the Vikings to rack up sacks in this game. And you know what pressure and sacks lead to? Turnovers and interceptions. Don't be surprised to get a couple of those, which can always lead to the potential to a touchdown. And that's what we're looking for in a fantasy defense. We're looking for pressure, we're looking for sacks, turnovers, and potentially a touchdown. I think Minnesota checks all those boxes this week against Cincinnati. Don't be scared of that Cincinnati offense and all the weapons, right? They're not going to drop 20 or 30 points on this defense. I just don't see it. Minnesota, a great start in week one.
Well, talent at the skill positions only goes so far if the offensive line doesn't do its job and protect. And that's definitely a weakness in Cincinnati. I think it's the same thing in Pittsburgh. You look at them, you think that's not an offense you want to go against. Yeah, great. 3 talented receivers, now a stud young running back in Najee Harris. But you know what? I am down on Ben Roethlisberger and what probably will be his final season. He just doesn't have any more. A guy who will take plenty of sacks. He can be turnover prone at times too. But the main thing is that offensive line, all of those main pieces that they had back when the entire offense was one that you wanted part of, and Le'Veon Bell was the best running back in fantasy. All of those offensive linemen are gone now, either traded or cut or retired. And so offensive line is going to be an issue. I think Big Ben's going to be on his back quite a bit this year. And Buffalo did have the third highest number of turnovers on defense last year. They're going to get at least a pick or two, I feel, along with a handful of sacks. So this might be a surprising pick here with Buffalo, but I think it's a squad you got to roll with in week 1. All right, and then let's go to the sits, a defense that you want no part of in the opener, Chris.
I'm going to go with a very good defense that I'm sure has been drafted in every league that starts a defense this year, and that's the New Orleans Saints. And I know most people just look at the defense and they think, that's a good defense, I'm going to start them. But you got to look at the other side of the ball. I'm not starting a defense against Aaron Rodgers. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen. Even one as good as the New Orleans Saints, because there's a couple things here, right? Number one, again, we're looking for sacks and turnovers. Aaron Rodgers isn't going to take a ton of sacks, and he's sure not going to turn the ball over. At least historically, he does not turn the ball over, and you got to think he won't this week. Another thing you got to factor in for the Saints is they don't have Drew Brees and those nice long drives where they can sit there on the sidelines and catch their breath, right? We don't know what this offense for the Saints is going to look like. We don't know how they're going to move the ball. And Jameis Winston is a guy, he's probably going to put this defense in some tough, short field positions throughout this game. And against Aaron Rodgers, no thank you. I don't see how you could start the Saints this week. I know you probably drafted them as like a top 6 or 7 defense in fantasy, which you shouldn't be doing anyways. You should just be streaming. But you got to sit him this week against Aaron Rodgers. No way I'm starting a defense against an offense with Aaron Rodgers.
No, Rodgers, one of the lowest interception rates of all quarterbacks over the last few years. That's definitely not a good play for you. Now, I do like the Bears defense in general, not against the Rams this week. So I feel like the Bears are one of those teams you feel like you can kind of safely go with. You didn't have to just spend a lot of draft capital on them, but you can roll them week after week out, and unless you're playing against the Packers, of course. I'm not playing against the Rams. I don't think I'm going to stream any defense against the Rams because I think Matt Stafford in that system is going to be lethal. I've already said I think Stafford is going to pay off as a QB1 in fantasy, maybe a top 5 fantasy QB. I really think he's going to throw for a ton of yards. And so I'm going to stay away from streaming any defense against them. The Bears did lose their top corner in Kyle Fuller, so I just don't feel like they're going to be able to stop that pass attack. I'm leaving them alone in week 1 for sure. All right, so if you have a question, a lot of defenses to choose from. Every league is different, right, depending on how deep it is. So if you have a question, hit us up with a comment right here on this channel. We try to answer every single one. Or you can wait till Sunday and ask live. If you have a start-sit decision, let us know and join us, of course, all season long. We're here to help you win because that is our end game. All right, thanks so much for watching, guys.